Unsolicited advice.
What you whispering for? Yo, what's unsolicited advice? Take it or leave it. So, we're going to talk about 3 types of manhood. People always want to tell you, and it's mostly females nowadays, they want to define what manhood is. Everybody likes manhood in a different way, or they like their men in a different way. They want you to display your manliness the way they want you to. But I'm here to say that it is what you define as manhood, not what someone else defines as manhood. It doesn't work that way. Nobody should be telling you how to be a man unless it's a man that has been through it. So there's 3 types of manhood. 3 types. You know, you have your traditional manhood, which is like the classic blueprint, of, just square box, manhood. And then you have your more modern manhood, or like the partner mold, or the partner model that I would say most women look for. It's like the sweet spot. And then we're going to talk about today's, or the future of manhood, which is your more fluid, like post-gender manhood. It's like, it's more complicated. We'll just say that. So first off, the first type of manhood, which I said is more traditional, that's your provider, your protector. He's stoic, and he's very decisive. They have clear, they understand their role. They have a clear definition of what their role is, and they're respected by many, and they're known for stability. Now, usually that's going to discourage emotional vulnerability. That's tied to like outdated gender roles, so with that type of guy, he doesn't have room to be vulnerable. So for certain women, they're going to look at it and say, well, I love all that, but I don't like that he's emotionally unavailable. But if you think about it, all that stuff sounds great. Provider, protector, he's stoic, he's decisive, he knows how to make decisions, he understands his role, he's respected by many people, and he's stable. That sounds perfect, but you don't like it because that type of guy will never show you his vulnerability. He'll never be emotional because that's your traditional male. That's old, that's old school fathers. That's that military archetype. That's that, like, I don't know, that Western cowboy, like fucking, I don't fucking know, Sidney Poitier, fucking, I don't fucking know, just, that's your perfect, like, traditional male. But like I said, the bad part of that with females is those guys are emotionally unavailable because they don't have time. They have to be a man. So you're going to love all that, but then you're going to complain that he's not emotionally there. So there's that problem. Then you have the modern man. You have your modern man, your ideal partner. So with them, they believe in shared responsibilities. They value equality. They're emotionally available, and they adapt. They have very strong communication skills. They're flexible with relationships. Flexible in relationships. So, they're supportive of their partner's career and ambitions. So the bad part about this is this is what you call a 50-50 guy. He believes that everything is fair. Everything should be on equal playing field, so everything flows smoothly. So this is viewed as soft or lacking leadership. So this is opposite of your traditional male, because now you're complaining that he's not a leader, that he just wants us to go 50-50 on everything. He wants everything to be balanced, but I want him to take control. So like I said, there's always some type of pro and con to it. It's like, even though you want this perfect man, you're going to find something wrong with him. So men, these are the men that you find who co-parent, or these are the type of guys that will split bills and will talk openly about feelings and whatever you want to talk about. They're great communicators. So, like I said, this is viewed as soft. This is usually the guy that most women pick after they done went through hell. They already had their kids. They done went through a bunch of hell with a bunch of guys. Then they pick this guy. He's soft. That means they're pretty much taking a sabbatical from verbal abuse, from physical abuse, from mental abuse, and they want to be with this guy that's softer. And he's not argue. He don't argue. He just wants, everything to be split down the middle so it's fair. But some women view that as soft and lacking leadership, which, like I said, this is where it gets confusing, because you got to pick one. You got to pick one. So the last one is what I would call your new age man. These are the new men. These are the men that are coming up, these young dudes. So this is your post-gender man, like post-gender fluid man. These are, they reject, gender rules. They kind of believe in being traditionally masculine and having female qualities as well. So they embrace self-definition. So they define themselves. So like I said, it's gonna get confusing, but I would say they like max personal freedom. They like high self-expression. So it's all about freedom and expression. And they're less tied to social approval. That means they don't give a fuck what people think. They're going to do them. So this is where you erase manhood. That means that they don't believe in any gender roles. You kind of just do whatever, So you really can't do much with this type of guy, but there's a lot of girls that love this, because what this does is this is more for your woke female that they don't want to be tied down by labels and stuff. They usually go for guys like this, They don't want the traditional. They want the new age way of thinking where the woman makes more of the decisions. They define stuff and the guy accepts it because, they want to do the same stuff too. Like I said, these are masculine men that also want to have female traits. So you would call this a non-binary man, They're fully emotional and they don't believe in boundaries. So you're either going to have to choose a fluid gender man, you're going to have to choose a traditional male, or you're going to have to choose a modern man. Do you want a man that is emotionally unavailable, but is a leader and a provider and a protector? Or do you want a man who believes everything should be balanced and even and 50-50, where, nobody's in charge of anybody. We both respect each other, and I'm communicating and I'm soft and I care about your feelings and, I want to work everything out. And, if it doesn't work out, I'm a co-parent. Do you want that type of guy? Or do you want a new age guy who doesn't believe in any of that? He does, if you want him to be a man, he'll be a man. If you want him to be a woman, he'll be a woman. If you want him to have male traits, he'll have male traits. If you want him to have female traits, he'll have female traits. You have to pick a side, ladies. Hey, streets ain't safe out here. You're gonna have to pick a side. I hear a lot of complaining about every little thing about a man, but you're gonna have to choose something. And more than likely, you would rather have a traditional man than one of these soft dudes. Because if you do the soft thing, you might, it's just going to go bad. It's going to go bad. And I think a lot of y'all, you say you want a man to lead, but then, like you say, once he does, it's a problem. So, you have to pick your poison. But that's just my unsolicited advice. Take it or leave it, ladies.